Good day, happy Tuesday. It's Chris. I'm here at Second Glass. It's Cellar Chats. And we're talking wine, because that's what we do. It's super fun, it's super delicious, it's super everything. Except for a superhero. It's definitely not a superhero. Unless we're referring to heroes like the sandwich, which is kind of like a sandwich, but not a sandwich. Anyways, off topic. This week, we are talking Pinot Noir. 3 Pinots, 3 times the fun. It's going to be amazing. So we're going to kick it off with bubbles, obviously. Bruno, Dangin, Crèmant de Bourgogne, their Cuvée Blanche. 100% Pinot, really excited about that, one of my favorites. Amity Vineyards, the ever lovely, ever beloved white Pinot Noir from Willamette Valley. And then rounding it out with the fan favorite, Presqu'ile, Pinot Noir, Santa Barbara County. Lovely, lovely stuff on tap this week. So, I've said this before, and I will say it again, and I'll continue to say it until everybody understands it, or until I run out of breath to say it with. Not every grape can be made in such an array of styles. Like Cabernet Sauvignon, say what you want. You can make rosé out of it. You could certainly make some sparkling wine out of it, but the reality is the best way to enjoy Cabernet Sauvignon is as a red wine, not as the other two. But things like Pinot Noir, and I would argue also, what are the other ones that make really great sparkling wine as well as rosé? I've had some pretty amazing, I bet Barbera would be good. Anyways, off topic. Pinot Noir really is one of the very rare red grapes that can make a white wine, direct pressed wine. It can make a rosé, it can make red wine, and it can make bubbles, and all of them are delicious. That is a rare feat in and of itself. So, kicking it off again, Bruno Dangin, their Cuvée Blanche. So these guys are located in Molesme, which is in the far northern reaches of Burgundy. Basically, you're on the northern area of Chablis, so outside the town of Chablis. And really, historically, this was an area that was part of Champagne, and basically an area where Champagne brought in a lot of juice and a lot of fruit, and mostly because it's quite a bit further south than Champagne, so it ripened better, even though this is still considered a very cold area for grape growing. 100 years, 200 years ago, it was very important, the slight difference of warmth that this had over the rest of Champagne, because they wanted consistency. They'll deny it, but it's true. Anyways, the Dangin family, longtime producers of Champagne in the region of Champagne, but their family had a large production facility and a lot of vineyards, and they really wanted to look at more sustainable farming practices and things like that. So instead of trying to convert what was, I think, like 200 hectares of land, they decided to invest in this, historic area not far from where their family's winery is in the Aube, which is actually Champagne, and start producing really lovely wines labeled Crèmant de Bourgogne. So 100% Pinot Noir. Oh man, this smells great. 100% Pinot Noir, made exactly like they make it in Champagne, aged to the exact specifications as they do in Champagne, just doesn't carry the Champagne label, which makes it a great value and excellent for all of us. So, classic kind of bready, yeasty notes, really kind of like red and white raspberry. Oh, wow. That is stunning. That is one of the best sparkling wines I think you can get for the money. I mean, when it comes to Champagne method and Champagne itself, I love them. They're incredible, but they're well out of my price point. This is a wine that you could afford to drink more regularly, at least once a week. I mean, and just fill it in with other things. But definitely on a flight, this is such a fun wine to have. Everything that you would want from Champagne, just not the Champagne dollar price. Wow, that's great. Again, Bruno Dangin, their Cuvée Blanche. Great stuff. All right, then we're moving into Amity Vineyards, their white Pinot Noir, which is 100% Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley, I think that, you know, although there seems to be a plethora of white Pinot Noir on the market these days, Amity Vineyards was, at least in my opinion or in my memory, kind of the original to really like label it this way. And let's be honest, let's look at it here. It is delicately pink, so it's a subtle rosé. At times, I think originally it was more of a direct press, but I'm going to not guesstimate. Having had some conversations with some winemakers, I know that the last few vintages have produced some like darker skins on the wines, and I think a lot of that has to do with like the heat and excessive amounts of heat, and it's just created thicker skins, so they're darker. So even if you're doing a direct press on a wine like this, you're going to get some contact with the skins because the juice is going to sit on the skins for a while. Without actually being like a macerated on the skins, which is what a rosé typically is. So you're going to get some color. So I imagine that is where this comes from. And the last few vintages have been more pinkish in color than previous vintages. And I really think it just is a reflection of the vintage and the fact that they were quite warm. Regardless, the wine's been delicious. On the nose, kind of like a white peach. I get like a fuzzy nectarine kind of character. Plenty of like vibrant freshness, like really juicy, almost like borderline underripe nectarine to where it still tastes good, but it's got like a crisp crunch to it. Oh, wow. Lots of like zesty citrus. Almost like kind of like that like intense citrus that you get from like just pure fresh lemon zest right on top of like a salad or something like that. Where it's just like an explosion of citrus, and then it comes in with like a little bit of strawberries and softer texture. If that doesn't refresh you on a hot day, I'm not really sure anything will. Again, that is Amity Vineyards White Pinot Noir 2022 vintage Willamette Valley. Then off to our friends, Presqu'ile. These guys, such lovely people making great, great wines. It's the first one I had to use my wine key on. No stranger to Cellar chats, no stranger to the weekly wine flights, and no stranger to Second Glass. She's had the Presqu'ile on the list for quite some time. She pours a Chardonnay. Celeste is she, by the way, in case you didn't know who I was talking about. Pours a Chardonnay by the glass. These have long been go-to, like just excellent value, really great wines at very reasonable, we'll call them reasonable price points for what they are. They're not inexpensive, but the quality is really there and they're great prices. 100% Pinot. This comes from Santa Barbara County. Presqu'ile has an estate out in the Santa Maria Valley, out a little closer to the Pacific Ocean, which is within Santa Barbara County. And they source fruit from there. Obviously, they use fruit from their state, but then they purchase fruit from friends and close neighbors in and around Santa Barbara to round out what is their largest production wine, which is the Santa Barbara County Pinot. Wow. Really beautiful kind of like savory characteristic to like some cherries. A little bit of like strawberry, almost like a slightly macerated strawberry, not like in an overly sweet way, but like a little cooked. Lots of spice, lots of aromatics. You definitely get like that whole cluster vibe where they're putting some stems in there. You get that kind of savory lift, almost like, what's the word? I want to say sanguine, but I don't think that's actually the appropriate term. Sorry, my vocab is not as strong as I wish it was. Needless to say, the wine is really good. And despite it actually has a decent amount of color, it's fairly translucent, but it's a little darker than I recall it. It's really lively on the palate and has tons of freshness. Oh, excellent. Which makes it great for this time of year because it is still warm, although we got a little settle in the heat. We'll see how long that lasts. So, maybe, we've got, I think, a super moon. Is it tonight or tomorrow? I think tonight and tomorrow we can see it. So come out. You should be able to see the super moon downtown unless it's cloudy. Come hang, grab some plates, grab some bites tomorrow when Second Glass is open on Wednesday, and hang out and watch for the supermoon. I mean, what else do you need in your life? Maybe some, good company to hang with you. So until next week, be safe, support local, have a good time. I'll see y'all later.